How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to That Car Vlog channel. If you don't already know, I'm Andy, and we are in the beautiful Bristol, Tennessee area, visiting my mom and my grandmother on not exactly the happiest of occasions, but we are here, and she said I could go ahead and make a video of their vehicles. So here I have for you today the 2003 Toyota Corolla. Real quick, if you haven't caught the video on the '01 Silverado 1500, go check that out. I'll throw a link or a card up here somewhere right about now, and I'll throw a link in the description below. But the focus of this video is the 2003 Toyota Corolla, and we'll start in the most important area, the engine bay. If I can get the hood up. Here we go. So here in the bay we have the 1ZZFE 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine producing 130 horsepower. Obviously this thing is not a powerhouse, although it's a lot more of a powerhouse than a lot of vehicles its size. Made it to a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now this is the base CE trim of this car. CE was the absolute base you could get back in 2003, and this is it. So you see you have the black steel wheels and the plastic wheel covers, but they look nice. Walk around the exterior, obviously nothing much to see. Now I do like the tail lights on these. I think they're somewhat stylish with the 2 circles. We'll get a little more light on that with your signal and your backup lights there. Here's your badge, Corolla CE. And that's really it for the exterior. There's nothing to see on the outside of these cars. Toyota makes their stuff simple. The headlights, simple yet somewhat stylish. I mean, it's a good looking economy car. It's not bad looking. Now go to the inside. Now this does have power locks, but it does not have keyless entry. At least I don't see any keyless entry for this car. So you have to unlock it with the key. Open it up now. So again, you do have power locks, but you have crank windows. You have power mirrors, which is not something that Silverado had. Across here, I'm guessing there might have been more that could have gone with this, maybe a tape deck, something else. But here's a just big panel. You do have a CD player, AM, FM. Stereo works nicely. Let's actually start this thing up real quick. Here's your ignition in a somewhat uncommon place, but still on the steering column. Fires right up as you'd expect any Toyota to. Scotty Kilmer's favorite line every time he starts a Toyota. Typical Toyota, fires right up. Good working AC. You get a digital clock here. Passenger airbag indicator light. Very simple. You get a storage cubby here. You get another one here, which specifies not an ashtray. On this side, you get another storage cubby right below the power mirror switches, right there. Try to get a little more light on this if I can, but you get a storage cubby. And of course, you get a glove box, which is about typical size. Here, a little place to put things, a couple of cup holders, and another console storage. So, and not to mention the small door pockets. So, for a small car, it's actually got a good bit of storage in it. You get a flip down passenger mirror with visor with a fixed mirror, no cover, and you get a covered driver mirror, probably so you're not tempted to stare at yourself while driving, which is smart. If we look at the gauge cluster here, we have 198,000 miles on a 17-year-old car. That is nothing for a Toyota. It even shows you a little outside temperature here, says it's 70 degrees outside. That's a nice little touch for an economy car. If we climb into the back here, obviously there's not the most room in the world, but for an economy car, not bad. Toyota thought of us Americans when they built this thing. Here, the only amenity you have in the back is these transforming cup holders. As we open this up, they kind of flip out like that. Lighting sucks, but put them away and they just kind of fold away in one movement. Pretty cool. out of there, close that. Reach down here in front of the driver's seat. We'll pull this. You have two levers. One's for your gas door. One is for your trunk. We'll pull the big one. That releases the trunk. Open it up. And it actually has a fairly roomy trunk in here. If I wanted to do the auto vlog thing, I could probably crawl in this trunk if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Lift it up. Spare tire underneath and a jack. Looks like we got a little bit of water intrusion in here. I'll have to get little brother to check that out. He helps Dad with all the cars, since he himself is also a mechanic. And as far as a review would go, that's pretty much the entire car. There's nothing to these things. You go back here, you get some covers where you got some anchors for child seats, which is nice to see. But otherwise, nothing to see on these cars. It's just a simple EconoBox Toyota meant to last a long time with, of course, general maintenance. 198,000 miles. This thing with basic maintenance still has a lot of life left in it. As you can see, no check engine light anywhere, just the seatbelt light because I'm sitting here idling and not buckled in. Only one thing that my dad and brother had to do to this thing when they got it, and this was back in July of this year. They haven't had this car this long, actually, just a few months. There was an issue with the airbag, and it was actually a recall. So they took it, had it fixed for nothing, and now it has a good airbag system. So if you are looking at this generation of Corolla, I don't know what other cars these would have applied to, but if you're looking at this generation of Corolla, do a little bit of research on that, see if this recall applies to that VIN, and whether or not it has been done, and get it done. Obviously airbags are a major safety thing, but that is the only major thing that's had to been done to this car in the few months that they've owned it. So I'd say they're pretty happy with that. Now let's go drive it. All right, let's take this Corolla out on the road. This simple car with the simple automatic gear shifter, nothing fancy, just straight forward and back. It's got a tachometer, a speedometer, odometer, gas gauge, and temp gauge. That's all this thing reads out to you. Probably won't drive quite as long or make quite a rambling discussion about the driving experience in this as I did the Silverado, because it's simple. I don't know of a better word to describe the Toyota Corolla. It's simple yet reliable, and if all you're looking for is reliable transportation that's good on gas, then this is what you need right here. And it's still got a little bit of pep in its step. It's not a slouch, but it's definitely not a sports car, and that's not the idea here. It's a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, 4-speed automatic transmission in a car that maxes out at a curb weight of 2,600 pounds. So yeah, it's light, it's fuel efficient, but if you need to pass on the highway, if you just want to have a little bit of fun, you can. You're not having sports car fun with this thing, but what you are getting is great gas mileage. I don't know what the fuel economy ratings are in this thing, but just do the math. An engine's under 2 liters, 2,600 pound car, it's light, it's nimble, it's going to get pretty good mileage. Visibility for a small car, it's a small sedan. It's not a sports car. You can see clearly at every angle in this car. There's nothing obstructing you whatsoever. And actually the ride isn't as comfortable as the Silverado. You feel a little bit more in this, but it's not as plush. The idea was to build an affordable car that lasts a long time, and that's exactly what Toyota did here. Now the Corolla, of course, it costs more money. It's got a load more features in it. all the latest tech, all that stuff. But back in this day, really, that you got everything you needed. Nothing. You really didn't get much of what you want in a car. You're one of those people that wants features, but you get what you need. And I think this is why my dad picked this up. You know, the truck, as much as he loves it, it drinks fuel. He's retired for 2 years by the point that he bought this car. And just for something to get around in, to take mom back and forth to work, you save a lot of money in gas getting this. Unfortunately, I was saying earlier, the reason that I'm here is not exactly the happiest circumstance. Well, actually, just about a week ago, my dad succumbed to cancer, and we lost him. And I'm really glad that he got this car before he passed, because this is exactly what my mom needs to be in. A small, easy to handle car that's not going to cost her very much to operate. It's not going to break down near as much as pretty much anything on the road. It's going to be dead reliable. All she got to do is, have my brother do the general maintenance, oil changes and stuff. Stuff I would do if I lived in the area, but I don't. I live in the Knoxville area. So just basic stuff. Change the oil. If a check engine light does come on, take care of whatever that problem is. But those obviously don't come on very often in a Toyota. At least not this one. I don't know the history of this car, obviously. Their history with it has been short. This video is being made at the beginning of October. They got this in the beginning of January. So they've only had this car for 3 months. Which is a shame. Dad really didn't get to enjoy this thing as much as he probably would have liked to. But, when it's time, it's time. Anyway, just pulled out on the highway here. Like I said, not a speed demon, not an acceleration machine, but it's no dog. It will get up, it will go. It is kind of peppy. It is somewhat nimble, easy to handle. Just from my short time in this car, this is the only time I've ever driven it, but just from my short time in this car, and knowing that it's a Toyota, and Toyota's, history of reliability and longevity, if all you need is a little econo box car to get you around, and you don't like spending money on repairs, this is what you want right here. And they didn't cost a lot to begin with. I don't know what the original MSRP would have been on this thing, but it's a little econo box. So surely it didn't cost a lot to begin with. You can probably pick these up fairly reasonable. Just do your research. And, like with anything else, pre-purchase inspection, check any codes, yada, 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 and maintain the car. Basic maintenance is almost all these Toyotas need. Anyway, I think I've talked long enough. Let's get back and wrap this thing up. Alright, but before we go back and wrap up, I'm actually going to take a windy back road back to the house, which I like those anyways, and let's test out exactly how nimble this thing is. Obviously, I said a few times it's a nimble vehicle, but I really haven't had it on the proper road to test that. So let's just find out, shall we? In a 90-degree turn at 25 to 30, and actually, I think the feelings I'm feeling are more my inexperience freaking me out than anything else. This is a nimble car. Now you get a little bit of body roll. A little bit. Obviously, it's not a sports car. It doesn't have a sports suspension. But at the same time, you're not throwing very much weight around with this thing. I mean, 2,600 pounds max. Add me in here, you're closer to 3,000, but that's what you get when you're big like me. But yeah, I gotta say, I can't diss the nimbleness of this car. It's actually really nice for a small economy car. Obviously, you can get things that handle a lot better than this, but not at a reasonable price point. Not for Corolla money. So I really do like the way this thing handles. This is nice. I think I got one more set of curves up here that'll really prove this thing's nimbleness. Here we go. Not this one. Actually, that one's pretty good, but this one right here. You don't want to hit it too fast, but oh yeah, I mean it's nice. So, like I said, it's kind of peppy. If you want to have a little bit of fun driving, but you can't afford a sports car, and you don't care if you don't care if it rides on rails, then yeah, this is not a bad car. And I'm sure you can pick these up for not a lot of money. Otherwise, my dad probably wouldn't have bought this car. Alright, now we can go home and wrap up this video. And so there it is. There is my mom's 2003 Toyota Corolla. I almost said mom and dad's, but it's hers now. Not a bad car. A simple car for simple needs to get you around and not break down all the time. It's been a long time since I've driven a small sedan. It was a little bit difficult for me to get out of, but that's me. First Toyota I think I've driven in my life, so I enjoyed that experience. Anyway, that's all there is to it. There's nothing to say about this car except simple, nimble, reliable. That's what this is. It's the total package. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Go down, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so you'll know when my next video goes up. Also, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at That Car Vlog channel. I don't always put everything up on there as much as I'd like, but I do always put up when a new video goes live. So if you're following me there, you'll know when I put up, just in case, YouTube doesn't notify you, which does happen from time to time. Also, if you're anywhere near the greater Knoxville area and have anything you would be willing to let me drive and review on the channel, I'll link a list below to cars that, off the top of my head, I would like to review and drive on the channel. Some clearly more ambitious than others, but they're on there anyway. Anyway, with that, once again, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't caught the video of the 2001 Silverado, go back and check that link in the description below. Anyways, everybody take care, stay healthy, stay safe, and make sure you hug the people you love tonight, because obviously you may not get to tomorrow. Y'all take care now.